What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the Vicktory Life Legacy Spotlight. Today I have in the house my brother, my former teammate, an entrepreneur, an author, one of New York City's finest, a trainer, one of the most intelligent brothers I've ever known, and someone I'm very proud of. Manuel Clemente, aka Manny, aka Manzo. Man, how you doing?
I'm good, man. Thank you for that introduction, man. You know, you're like a big brother to me from day one at Tech. So I'm excited to be here. I couldn't wait. You know, I've seen everybody else, you know, from Virginia Tech family, from the 757, you know, family, everybody up there doing the thing. I said, I can't wait to talk to Dwight, man. So I appreciate you having me here, man. Thank you so much.
This is great, man. And you were on my list, especially when I was one of the first people to purchase your book. So everybody watching, we're going to talk today about Manny's legacy and also this book. I really highly recommend you get it. Good Boy, Better Drugs. It is a very insightful and deep book. And I don't know, man, if you want to talk today or you want to hold off, we can get into later towards the end of the show about some upcoming things you have brewing and in the works that I think people are going to be impressed with. But again, that's only if you want to. You can just let us know. But I want to start off when I bought the book. When my wife and I purchased the book, the one thing that stood out to me, and we're gonna get into your legacy and Woodberry and all of that, but you in the book had a letter to your mom that you wrote while you were incarcerated, right?
Yes, sir.
Is that in every book?
That's in every book. So what I did, like me and my team, we took a letter that I had that was just like my mom gave me a bag of pictures. And in the bag of pictures was, one of the letters that I had written her. So I just found, it appropriate to photocopy the letter, just change her name and just send it to everyone. I want everyone to feel how real the book was, feel how real that letter was, because it goes hand in hand. The book is my life. It's the real deal. So there's no fabrication in there. So I wanted people to know that my journey was real, and here's a little piece of me, just something for everybody to have, and also show my appreciation for everyone who purchased my book kind of early, everybody who pre-ordered.
No doubt, man. And I've talked to a lot of people about your book.
Thank you.
My best friends, Tyrone Times, my wife, obviously, Shanice is a big fan of yours.
Love her to death.
Yeah, she talks about you. She thinks you're wonderful. And one thing she asked me, and I've talked to several people in the Virginia Tech community, even people that didn't go to Tech that saw the promotion and bought the book, they all asked me as if I knew. I was there with you for some of those years at Tech, but they all asked the same question. This is a very detailed and insightful book. This is almost like what you see when you watch movies or documentaries, like even shows like Power, where you talk about the two lifestyles that are going on. What stood out to me when I first started reading this book is it was very detailed, yet you reported on one of your Facebook lives that you didn't take notes or keep a diary. This is off the top of your dome. You were able to remember all these intimate details.
Yeah, ever since I was a kid, I always had a memory like an elephant, so to speak. So I just remember everything. I can remember stuff from when I was like 4 years old. I can remember being in pre-K, and I'm 43 years old. I just had a good memory. So in the book, it's straight off the top of my head. It's just, stuff that affected me. Also, I'm very cerebral, so I'm very in tune with energy and triggers. So if I see something and it triggers me, I automatically just will stare at say if it's a cup, I might just stare at the coffee mug for a second. It might bring me back to when I was 7, and I'll sit there and let my mind digest the whole memory, and then I'll sit there and I'll just be zoned out. My wife calls me MK Ultra, but she calls me MK asshole because she says she's talking to me, and I just zone out, like Al Roker, just be sitting there I'll just zone the hell out. And then she goes snap out of it, and when I snap out of it, she knows that I'm going back into a memory, and I'm going to put it in the book. So that's why it's so detailed, because I just pay attention to detail, and I always knew that I was going to write a book. So after 2009, I said I'm going to write a book. Even in prison, I just always knew I was gonna write a book. So it was like I've been a sponge for all these years, because I knew that one day I was gonna need all that information that I remembered.
Manny, I feel you on that, man. because I appreciate the insight you provide in this book, and I know others I've talked to as well do the same, feel the same. What I find remarkable is like when you're in your formative years, 16, 17, 18, 19, even your early 20s, we don't know what the future holds. We may have goals and we may say, I want to do this when I get old, own a barbershop or a car wash or be a pro athlete. You from NYC. And I remember when you got to Tech, and it's interesting to see you now, like even, you know, Mike and all you guys, Dre, everybody's got a family and doing remarkable things, but to see someone like yourself and Mike Vick face the adversity you've experienced and then come out on top. I never thought in a million years you would be an entrepreneur, a super trainer at one time, training some famous celebrities as well as athletes, and now an author and have an autobiography. Does it hit you sometimes that this is where you're at right now?
Sometimes it always hits me when I have to humble myself. Mm-hmm. Like the other day, I had a dream. I had a nightmare, and my nightmare was that I didn't have a doorman. I had one elevator, and I woke up like, oh shit, with all the 3 elevators, my doorman. I was like, hold up, brother, you need to pipe this down. Like you come a long way. You come from, you know, from being, you know, like a kid to, you know, athlete and out of prison and stuff that you're going through. Never forget where you come from, and always humble yourself. Remember that you still, you know, you have a long way to go. So in those moments right there, I sit back and think. But I normally don't think about it. It's just like, I just, you know, it's just me, man. I'm always looking for something different to do. Especially when somebody tell me I can't do something. You know, we Virgos. You tell me I can't do something, and it's a wrap. You know, don't ever bet on me. You know, if you want to get some money, have somebody say that Manny can't do it, and I'm gonna be like, oh, and you know, it's gonna happen. You know, people said I couldn't write a book. People said I couldn't train. People said I couldn't, you know, own a restaurant. People said I couldn't do a lot of things. But the easiest way to lose your money is bet against me, because I'm going to get it done. Still, you know, and I'm 43 years old. Today's my birthday. You know,
that's right. Happy birthday. That's right.
Of course, I'm spending it with you. You know, yeah. but the I just have a lot of drive, and I won't quit. I'm going to be doing this till I'm in the grave. I'm going to be doing something. Next time I talk to you, you're going to be like, oh, you have a movie out, or you have a Netflix out, or, you know what I'm saying? It's going to be something else. I'm never going to stop. Like, I'm never going to stop.
Yeah, no, and I love it. I'm enjoying every minute of it, man.
Thank you.
Let's talk about New York, man, because I remember when you and your class arrived, we had Corey Bird, who's mentioned in the book. Everybody's in the book, which I think, again, is amazing. Corey Bird, you know, New Jersey guy, you know, and then Jermaine Hinkson, and then you came on. We had New Yorkers before. I remember Renald White came in. He was a diehard Knicks fan. You could tell a New Yorker a mile away. But when you came in, you brought that new generation New York flair. I remember seeing you in the weight room. I don't know if you remember this. This is before Kanye even knew he existed, before he became the super producer and artist. And you hear the term Jesus piece, and now the kids call it drip. You had a real live chain with Jesus crucified hanging, and you were rocking in the weight room. I remember Coach Gentry, the strength coach at the time, was talking about that chain. But being from New York and also being a really good athlete, did you ever think you would end up at a school like Virginia Tech in Blacksburg, Virginia? Like, take me back to New York. No. How did that come about? Let's go back to how you got to Woodberry and how you got to Virginia Tech.
I got the Woodberry. I was going to Harbor School for the Performing Arts. I was a drama major, and I was an All-American basketball player. People don't know I was big in drama. I used to do you know, do a lot of plays, Guys and Dolls. You know, Little Shop of Horrors. I was like the lead. I always was that dude. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I used to try out for the Cosby Show. I never made it, but I used to watch the Cosby Show and see some little light-skinned, good-haired dude have on my lines. I'd be sitting mad at my parents like, you know, I'm just not light enough. You know, you know. So, and the only line would be, "Hello, Mr. Huxtable." You know, I'm still messing it up right now. But yeah, so maybe that's why they didn't sign me. But so from boarding school, from Harlem, I got an academic scholarship. Actually, Tee Butler and I, Virginia Tech athlete, you know, he played with us. So Tee Butler and I, of course he's in the book. Tee Butler and I got a scholarship, an academic scholarship from Harbor into Woodberry. So after Woodberry, I went there. My basketball game fell off, and I stopped growing. I was like 6 feet at age 11. I'm like 6'1" now, so I didn't grow at all. I thought I was gonna be like 6'8", You know, so I was always like, you know, a star athlete in terms of basketball. When I went to Woodberry, I switched to football, and you know, you could translate from basketball to football kind of easily if you're an athlete. So I never played football in my life, so I went to Woodberry, and then I played. Nah, I've never played football ever.
Wow.
Ever. Like not at all. No Pop Warner. I didn't even know Virginia Tech. What the hell Virginia Tech was? I still don't know what a hokey is. But yeah, I didn't know what Virginia Tech was. So when I was getting recruited for football, I became, you know, after like 2 years of playing football, I had all these scholarships to go to school, and Virginia Tech wasn't even on my map. My coach was like, "The kid Cornell Brown goes there." I was like, "Who the hell is Cornell Brown?" He was EC Glass. I was like, "Who's EC Glass?" Oh, that's a school in Lynchburg. I'm like, where the fuck is Lynchburg? So I'm just like oblivious to like, I'm just oblivious to like everything you guys grew up on and you know about the football and the UVAs and the Air Force and all that. I don't know I'm not a football like knowledgeable guy. I don't know anything about football at all in terms of at that point. All I knew that UVA was #1 in the nation at some point when I was back there.
Early 90s.
That's all I knew. So I'm getting all these scholarships, and I can't believe it. I go home, and my dad's opened up the mail, and he's like, "Oh, you got a scholarship from here and here." I was like, I read them like 15 times a piece. I was like, damn, I don't have to pay for college. You know, it was like, you know, cool. The first visit I went to was Virginia Tech. And that's because of your coach, Mr. Grimes. Coach Grimes, let me say Grimes.
Coach Grimes?
Coach Grimes recruited me.
I never knew that.
Yeah. Coach Grimes.
I can imagine Coach Grimes, a true Southerner.
Yeah.
You, a true New Yorker.
Arkadelphia, Arkansas, Coach Grimes. Yeah. He came, and when he came to Woodberry, I was like, who's this little dude? He was like, you know, yeah, Coach Grimes.
He was.
He had his hat on. What's up, man? What's up, young man? So he came and he recruited me. And I loved Coach Grimes. And then he was the only coach who would call and not kiss my ass. I would have like 15 tackles. He'd go, you should have had 20. I have 3 sacks. He said, you should have 5. I'm like, so every day I'm on the field. I'm like, I got to do good. I got to talk to this little old white dude, and he's going to tell me I'm some shit. So I got to get my shit together. So he actually was motivating me to be a better athlete, and he didn't even know it. You know, I didn't even know he was molding me to be a Hokie. So after I went on my first visit was to Virginia Tech. And when I went to Virginia Tech, Todd and TJ Washington was my my host. You know, Todd and TJ, they took one look at me, and they knew what to do. They said, "Listen, we're gonna take him to Cornell Brown and Keon and Tyron and James and them and Tony Moe and them. And Nate, we're gonna take him over there because he gonna love these guys." And lo and behold, I went there. I was you know, between Coach Beamer, Coach Grimes, and then my whole boys club, Cornell and all of them. I left there. I didn't go on another visit. I went to Coach Foster's office and committed before I left. I didn't want to see what else. Coach Foster looked at me like I was crazy. He was like, "Shit, man. Oh, shit. You want to sign right now? What about your parents?" I said, "Fuck my parents. I'm a Hokie. What you mean my parents? I'm going to Woodberry Forest. I am my parents." Yeah, so so I left Virginia Tech a Hokie and never went. I had 4 more visits. You know,
what other visits?
North Carolina. I had, you know, I said this is it. So that's how I became a Virginia Tech Hokie.
Hey, listen, man. When you mention those names, I mean, those are still.
Hold on a second. Let me turn you up a little bit.
When you mention those names, those guys are still my brothers now.
You kind of low right now. Okay. Is that you?
Can you hear me now?
The volume.
Can you hear me now?
You're still a little low.
How about right now? You know what I'm gonna do? Make sure we flow with it. How about now?
No. Let me see.
It might be yours, man.
I can't hear you now.
Yeah, Manny, when you mention those names, you talk about Keon and Cornell, I can see you fitting in well with them because of the personalities. And Todd and TJ, I did not know they hosted you. They both hosted you?
Yeah, and they knew better. They said, this little kid, he a little too wild for us. They picked me up. I didn't even see the apartment. They dropped me right off of Tony Moe and them. They said, man, you take care of this one right here, and they knew, you know. But it was the best thing. It was like I get to see two brothers. So I saw the family element. I saw that Mr. Washington felt comfortable enough to send, who was a coach, to send two of his boys to Virginia Tech. So that was big for me. You know, that was big to see, you know, positive black man coach send two of his sons, not just one. So he felt comfortable sending two of his sons to Virginia Tech. Also, the fact that Coach Grimes were you guys' personal coach, you know, the offensive line coach. So it was like a perfect combination. You know, Tech, it was a perfect combination to hook me in there. Trust me. I mean, I was like I thought they was twins at first. I said, they got these two big black monsters, but yeah, and they were very sweet. They were like, you know, like just the most positive brothers. So I had them, and then they took me to the madhouse, and it was all good. I said, I gotta stay here. I gotta stay here.
Yeah, no doubt. You know, man, you've been very outspoken over the last several weeks with social injustice and racism. Really, not just the last few weeks, really since I've known you, especially since you've come out of being incarcerated. You know, we'll talk about that camp. We reconnected at Mike's camp in a second. But you've talked about a lot about Woodberry and the stuff that occurred. And you mentioned your coach and the pedophile, and some of the alumni have been critical of your comments, and you haven't backed down. I don't want to spend the whole show because there's not enough time to talk about that, and that's very unfortunate. But can you touch on that experience with Woodberry and just what you've experienced and what you've seen, and what you actually mean when you refer to those incidents?
My coach, the pedophile story comes from my former coach, Coach Ernie Leutch, who coaches he's passed now, but he coached Riverside Church Hawks. I mean, Kenny Smith, Kenny Anderson, Mark Jackson, Chris Mullen, Ed Pinkney. The list goes on and on and on of NBA stars who played under Mr. Leutch. We had, like, you know, the best team in, you know, one of the best teams in the nation, one of the best teams in New York City, if not the best. It was a huge program, but the fact of the matter is that the owner of the program, Mr. Ernie Leutch, he was, you know, at the time an alleged pedophile. You know, not to me. Like I said, I was a 6 foot, 12-year-old with a gangster father, so it was never anything about me. But it was stuff that we used to hear in terms of, like, what he used to do. He used to paddle kids' butts, like for sneakers. If you wanted a pair of sneakers, he would take you into his office and take his paddle out and spank you or rub on your butt. If you had bad grades, he would do the same thing. And it was known around the city. It was just like known. It was just like, we used to make jokes like, we used to go travel to Phoenix and LA, like as like 11, 12-year-olds play basketball, and we'd joke on each other. We go, hey man, I saw you come out of Mr. Leutch a hotel room this morning. And we're kids. Right now it's disgusting, but when we're younger, it's like, oh man, it's hilarious. But this was like the attitude and the culture for the entire city. Everybody knew what this man was doing, but he was paying bills, paying people's rents, parents, like rents, light bills. So he was taking care of a lot of people. He was doing a lot of positive, but it was for the wrong reasons. He's paying, like all those guys I named, Kenny Anderson, all of them, I guarantee you he paid for their high school, like to go to a Catholic school in New York City. Like, he was benevolent, but at the same time, he was wicked. So that's there. I left Woodberry Forest School. I left Riverside Church on a kind of bad vibe, because I felt like something was happening to my friends, and it's in the book. So I left, and so I knew that me going to Woodberry Forest was going to be a detriment to my basketball game, because I'm here in New York City playing against the best ballers, and then I'm going down to bumblefuck Virginia playing against a bunch of all privileged white kids. So I knew I was going to be doomed, but I had to get out of New York City. I wanted to get out of that situation. in terms of me dealing with my school. When I was at Woodberry, like I said, racists don't go after guys like you and me. You know, they're not gonna come up to you and call you nigger.
No.
Or come up, you know, they're not gonna do that. You know what I'm saying? But so my experience there wasn't like that. There's some things that I know right now as a man. I look back and be like, hey, why were all this people who work in the kitchen dressed like slaves for like big dinners? Like literally dressed like slaves, like the women. Like why aren't there any people of color with power on this entire campus? Why are everybody, you know, of color is in the kitchen? They work on the grounds. You know, they're not allowed to come upstairs without a white supervisor. You notice this stuff, but at the time you're a kid, you're just happy to be there. But as a man, you're not happy to be there anymore. You know, you're looking back like, hey, that was kind of messed up. Yeah. And it wasn't until the whole George Floyd situation where I kind of realized what kind of school I went to. Because I have a bunch of white friends, not racist, you know, like that I'm really, really close with from Woodberry. So as you read my book, not one bad word about Woodberry in my book. I actually got a chapter called Grady Smile. He's a white kid from country in Texas. You know, so obviously I bonded with some kids, and I built relationships that I'm still, you know, honored to this day. It's not about race; it's about right or wrong. Mm-hmm. So when the whole George Floyd thing happened, you know, the headmaster there and the school didn't acknowledge anything. So I started to complain on Facebook, and then I found out that my school didn't have any rules on racism. But think about it, I went to the school, I didn't think nothing about it. The school has, in 130 years, not one rule. So somebody could walk to anybody and say whatever, you know, a racist comment, and there's no repercussions for it. You know, so I started looking into like the rules and the history, and start talking to, you know, faculty, students, old alumni, black alumni, white alumni, staff workers, and I started to do my homework. And then I started to realize that this school needs to step up. This school is really, from outside looking in, from what I'm learning, they have a lot of wicked ways about them, and I'm gonna help them change. You know, I don't want to destroy them, but I'm gonna help them change if they don't listen. They didn't listen. So I wrote the articles with Black, you know, Are Black Boys Safe at Woodberry Forest School, Part 1, Part 2, Part 3. I wrote these articles because I have Black staff calling me who work there like right now, crying, talking about, thank you so much, thank you. Somebody finally said something. Really? You know, yeah, like we're stuck here, and this is what's going on. They start telling me about pay. There's a bunch of different things that was going on at that school where I had knowledge of, firsthand knowledge, and I didn't agree with. And a lot of times for these, you know, I'm gonna tell you how it is. A lot of times for these racist institutions to change, they need to be embarrassed. You have to embarrass their ass. You can't be nice. You know, we got Black Board of Trustee members there right now. They've been there since 1973, literally the first Black students, talking about Woodberry's not racist. Like, but then what they'll do is put you on these little private little calls with Black alumni. They put you to the side and talk to each other and bitch to each other. And in those calls, then the same guy be like, oh, I had this situation, this situation, this situation. But you'll do a goddamn YouTube video saying that Woodberry only cares about orange and black, not black and white. And you know me, Dwight, that doesn't go with me. You know me for a long time. Mm-hmm. I'm not that type of dude. Yeah. You're not gonna piss on me and tell me it's raining. So I took it my responsibility to and with the help of other Black alumni and even white alumni to bring this to the forefront and they actually kind of expose my school for what they are, you know. So having said that, after 130 years, guess who finally has a rule on racism for this school year? Woodberry Forest School, you know. So now, you see, now, but everybody's complaining about my tactics in terms of you exposing them. Nah, fuck that. Don't talk about exposing them. Let's talk about the problem. You know, it's the same thing that goes on in society. You know, all this self-defense, all this. Let's talk about the problem. Like, I don't want to hear about all this other stuff. You know, let's talk about the problem. I don't want to hear about, oh, this guy has a rap sheet, or this guy is a drug user. Let's talk about the knee on his neck. Let's talk about that. I don't want to talk about this other stuff. So I made, people aware of what's going on, and now Woodberry is finally moving in the right direction. People may hate. I lost a lot of friends doing it, but I'm still talking to you, so I really don't care, man. Real.
Well, you know what? There's still other people that's in your corner and respect
Yeah.
you. And you know what? When you get honest and you say what you feel, everyone's not going to like it. And
No.
with that being said, you had your time at Woodberry and you're addressing an issue in your own way, and it seems to be working for you. I know there's still work to be done, not just with your cause, but nationwide.
Absolutely.
I just want you to touch on that. But now, back to your journey to Virginia Tech, that you mentioned a lot in your book, Good Boys, Better Drugs. You talk a lot about a lot of people. And when I'm reading some of it, there was about a month and a half, maybe a few months ago, at a little get together, nothing big because of COVID, but we were reading the book and talking about the book. And I know you changed the names, but you did get permission from a lot of people. But I'm sitting here going back in time in my mind saying, well, wait a minute, who is this? Is this such and such? Did you go, did you actually talk to everybody you could and get permission for the people that are mentioned a lot and just
not at all.
Okay.
No. Because there's no defamation of character. Like say I did talk to Andre Kendrick. I talked to.
Yeah.
I talked. But my boy Dre. Me and him smoking weed in the damn thing. I had to let him know, like, hey Dre, this is what's going down, and I ain't trying to hear it.
Yeah.
I'm going to put this in there. We did it, and he laughed, and we talked about it, and he said, no problem. Sean Sullivan, I had to talk to him about this, club scene, and got his permission, to talk about anything that made somebody look anything other than like perfect, besides like my dad. I talked. I even talked to my dad, and I'm putting a lot of my family business in there, and I got the okay from my dad. He was the main one. But like my friends and stuff like that, I think Dre, Sully, Dre, Sean Sullivan, I talked to because of the situations that's in there. But everybody else, I didn't when I'm doing all those drugs, those are like different names. I changed the names. But
Gotcha.
everybody who's involved in some type of mischief know they're going to be in there, but I changed the names of some people because people have kids right now. I wasn't trying to embarrass anybody.
No doubt.
No, but Dre, Andre Kendrick is my brother for life. Even me and him are like this. You know that.
I know
so I was
that.
Like, Dre, I was like, Dre, this book is going to go all around the world, man. You're going to be mad that you're not in this book because we smoked some damn weed in a parking lot waiting for a Squires party. Like, really? And he thought about it and he said, you know what, you're right. I'm like, come on, man. Like, this, it's an honor for him to have let me do that. He's my friend. And I wanted to put everybody's name in some way. I even got your name in there. You know what I'm saying?
I saw that. I was like, how do you remember what I said when
you
you
can call me God and mess around and play around.
Yeah, I used to play around the whole New York thing.
Yeah, so everybody I love, everybody in there. If I could, I would have put the whole. I tried to put the entire team in that book in some way. In some way, some mention. I tried to put somebody in that book.
No, you do a great job with Mike Hawks, aka Dirty Mike, Jamil Smith, Lambo. I mean, it was really like going back in time, but it's one of those things where when you read this book, you can be from Bethlehem, you can be from New York, you can be from Maryland and relate to it. Like I said, it's a journey watching you grow and come out on the other side, very similar to other people who face struggles and even some trauma. And you don't minimize it, you embrace it. It's very honest, very open. Even I want to make sure I ask this question. I was taking notes. Even the question, there's a scene, let's talk about that club scene in Miami. It was the Orange Bowl, right?
Orange Bowl, yes, sir.
1996 Orange Bowl. Virginia Tech's playing the two-time defending national champions, Nebraska Cornhuskers. And you, Coach Beamer, we're all in the team meeting, and he gives us a night where we don't have a curfew. And you mentioned Sully tapping you on the shoulder saying, let's go. And you, him, and Dre go to a club. It's a very, very powerful scene. And even if you don't know those guys we mentioned, you're in the club, you run into some women, you talk about the Spanish scene, and Dre and you and Sully are arguing. I can see that because they going at it, making jabs at each other. But talk about that scene and what it led to, not without giving away details in the book.
That scene was a powerful scene. I'm glad you touched on that because from the beginning to the end, when I get on the, the team busted at first, I'm talking to Corey Bird. All right. Now Corey Bird was a positive dude, positive influence for me at Virginia Tech. He knew how to party, but not too much. He took his schoolwork, football. He knew how to compromise. Compromise, compartmentalize. He knew how to compartmentalize. So Corey Bird, that's why I have him talking to me. Because he cared about me, and he wanted me to do the right thing. But
as a matter of fact, Manny, there's
yeah.
in that scene,
Yeah.
he says, I'm paraphrasing here,
Yeah.
You're never going to learn.
Never going to learn. Never going to learn. Him and Lambo used to say that shit all the time. You're never going to. They always used to be on me. And also, I have Corey Bird in there because Corey Bird. Corey Moore, if you notice, he's not saying a word in the scene. He's crying. He didn't play. You see the difference of mentality?
Mm-hmm.
That man, Corey Bird and I, we came in together. He didn't play in that game, but he was so hurt by the loss that he was sitting, because for our team, he's a team first. He was so worried, concerned about that loss and the seniors leaving and everything else. He was just sad, looking out the window crying. Meanwhile, I want the seniors to go. I don't give a shit if they go. I tell you, I dropped a few tears and Cornell cried. I'm on some other stuff. I'm not even worried. I'm worried about myself. I don't care about the team. I'm not taking it seriously. Now, if you just see the way Corey and I football careers merged off, Corey Moore, All-American. You know what I'm saying? Consensus All-American. I was right there with him. We was together. When I came in Virginia Tech, I ran faster than Corey. I benched more than Corey. We were like the 1-2 combination. Yeah. But I didn't take it seriously, and that man did his thing. And I love Corey Moore. You know what I'm saying? So I put that in the show, like, you don't take this serious. And then also for other kids, like, who want to play football, see two guys, like, if you act like this nut, this is what's going to happen. If you act like Corey Moore, and he didn't even say a word in it, but his power, his scene, his part is so impactful because it shows that you got to take this shit serious, Dwight. This is not a game. When you want to make it to the next level, you got to be like him. You got to be crying for a loss that you didn't even play in.
Well, Manny, it's very similar. It's very similar to when Allen Iverson talked about how early in him and Kobe Bryant's career, they were young in their career, maybe their rookie or their second or third year. And Iverson talks about him and Kobe, they're playing in LA against the Lakers. He's with the Sixers, and they go have dinner. And then Kobe says, what are you about to do? And Iverson says, man, I'm fixing to hit the club. And Kobe says, I'm getting ready to go to the gym. That was essentially kind of like what you and Corey Moore was. Corey Moore was so in love with being a football player, for the seniors, being a team guy. He's showing emotion, empathy, and you thinking about what you want to do that night.
Absolutely. And then I also, after I talked to Corey, I'm like, okay, I'm going to get my stuff together. And the minute Sully tapped me, I forgot all about Corey Bird. I forgot all about his message of saying, positive and we can win. Corey Bird said he had told me that we could go to national championship and we can play a national championship. Also, that's in the book. And I thought he was a damn fool. Did you see the difference? Like that man, he knew that we could do this. Mm-hmm. We went to the national championship. You see what I'm saying? Like my mentality was totally off. So we go to the club, and now we're in the club. And it's just temptation. The Spanish girls, I wasn't using drugs then, but it's just temptation. That scene is more important for the people who want to play college football or want to, who want to do the right thing. If they read this, they know that you gotta have your shit together and be serious about this from day one. The club is not important. Just like in that scene, I had never sold drugs. I never had done anything. I never done anything wrong in my life. But that quick, that temptation can change your life. You may not do it then, but the wheels are turning for you to go in the wrong direction. Those wheels weren't turning for Corey Bird and Corey Moore or Lambo or anybody else because they were on that bus. Mm-hmm. I wasn't on that bus. I was in the club. So now you're already going down the wrong path and you think you're just having fun. So all fun is not good fun. Sometimes when you see guys not going to the club, it's not because they square, because they focus. And I didn't know the
yeah.
difference. So kids got to know the difference between being square and being focused.
No question. No, now there's another part I want to talk about in your book where you talk about a scene with Nikki Giovanni.
Yes.
And she decides not to fail you because you missed an important quiz. And y'all have a very important conversation. For those that may not know, Nikki Giovanni is a professor at Virginia Tech, the world famous poet, writer, scholar, very civil rights activist. Nikki Giovanni is one of the most influential people of our time, and she's working at Virginia Tech still. I was in her class, Harlem Renaissance, Manny, you guys took that class. A lot of people took that class.
Yeah.
But she pulls you to the side. Y'all have a very heartfelt conversation.
Yeah, because at the time I was, not doing the right things. The conversation wasn't even about, in the book it's about drugs. It wasn't about drugs. My conversation with her was about life. I just made it because she's so influential to me. I just made that part more pertinent to like my transition to doing wrong and having, every book or every movie you see some teacher trying to say, young man, you gotta get your shit together. The Charles S. Done. If Jesus can make you a better man than Allah, I'm all for it. So I had to have one of them scenes in it, from Minister Society. And what other teacher was I going to use, so because she was the most influential to me at Virginia Tech. But we did have a conversation about me being a leader and, the way girls watch me in the class and the way I dressed, people following what I did and my writing skill and to stay focused. And because I used to talk to her after class all the time. It was the only class I went to, I think. It was like, 7 p.m. across the drill field and Shanks, whatever. So all the girls were in there. I think that's where you met your wife, right? Were you with Shanice back then?
No, yeah, I was. I met her at a Volume 2 bookstore.
Yeah, but
going to get some books.
Was she in that class?
Nah, she was older than us a few years, so she didn't have that class. I didn't mean.
Oh, okay, all right.
Oh, you ain't trying to get me in trouble. You might be thinking about somebody else I met in that class.
She's listening like this. She's like this.
Yeah, there was a couple other girls in that class, but wasn't Shanice.
Okay, it was some girls in that class. So I used to go to the mall before that class and go buy sneakers. So I would go to the mall and make sure I was fresh for that class. I love that class. So when Nikki Giovanni had that Thug Life tattoo, like she from Tupac, she had tattooed Thug Life on her
a big
palm.
Tupac fan.
And when she did that, I just fell in love with her. I was like, what? I was like, did this woman, this little black woman, this older black, this civil rights, just icon, just poet, beautiful spirit, just get Thug Life. I fell in love with her. So I never missed a class, and she's very influential for me writing this book. She gave me that. She didn't teach me how to write. She just taught me how to be confident and to be like, use what you got and don't let anybody say that you can't do it. And, people never know the stuff that they take from a person until they're in the situation when they need it. Mm-hmm. So I actually took her words and she helped me get through prison. Like people don't know, like, the coach bosses of the world. You never know. You teach somebody about football while they're 17 years old, but your words help a man when he's 25 in federal prison. So Nikki Giovanni gave me that push through life. She gave me the confidence to be like, you know what? I am the shit. I am going to write. No one's going to tell me what I can do. I don't need white, black, yellow, anybody telling me anything that, I can do it.
Mm-hmm.
If you doubt me, fuck it, I'm still going to do it. So those people are very influential. And I love Nikki. If you guys don't know who Nikki Giovanni is, please go read her poems. I still got her poems. Everything she has, all books I have, like love her to death. Love her to death.
No doubt. Well, just a reminder, we're talking to Manuel Clemente, talking about his book, Good Boy, Better Drugs, his autobiography book, talking about his time in New York City, incarceration, drugs, a very honest and insightful journey in his life. Manny, before we talk about your incarceration, what happened with that, you mentioned Bud Foster and Coach Beamer and all these other guys, Cornell Browns. You were around some Nikki Giovanni and others. your relationship with Mike and Andre, you were around some great people, iconic figures. You know, we're
Yes.
talking about like household names around the way. We're talking about iconic figures to this day. And
Yes.
yet you still got into some trouble. And even your mother and then your father, who was a G, but he was real with you.
Yeah.
When I had Mike on my show, Mike Vick, and other people that have gone through some adversity, some big, some major, some small, they talk about the insight and the life lessons almost to the point where they had to go through that fall. You know,
Yes.
Mike talked about it had to happen. Even though it was rough on him and his family, it had to happen.
Had to.
For you, let's talk about that. Not so much, you know, your time in prison, but what eventually led to you getting incarcerated? How long time did you serve? And do you agree that it had to happen to you?
Yeah, absolutely. I was addicted to drugs. I was addicted to, during like my last year at Virginia Tech, I just became just a party animal. You know, girls, drugs, just wildlife, traveling across the country, you know, traveling across the world, doing the, you know, just a bunch of reckless stuff, you know. And when I got arrested, it wasn't even at Tech, you know, for the big stuff. I was dealing drugs at Roanoke.
Mm-hmm.
People don't really know that. It wasn't like I got locked up for the stuff I was doing at Roanoke, not Virginia Tech. So I had stepped up my game in terms of just being ignorant. And the more money I got, the more ignorance, you know, the more ignorant I got, the more reckless I got, the more I let go of my faith, the more I just was, you know, just doing the wrong thing. So when I got locked up, it was like kind of like I can inhale. It was like finally, like anybody who's gotten locked up would tell you, it's like a relief, kind of like you don't get it wrong. You're mad, you're scared, you're everything, but it's like for me, it was like you guys finally got me, you know, like and me during my time, I did 5 years, I did 60 months. I needed every last day of it. I needed every last day of it. Without those 60 months, I probably wouldn't be here. I'd probably be dead. You know, there's no probably to. I was putting myself into some really reckless situations, and prison helped. It saved me. I wouldn't be here talking to you. I wouldn't have a book. I wouldn't have businesses. I wouldn't have anything if it wasn't for that. It helped me reflect, and also it helps me see who my friends were. You know, like it helps me sit back and just cut the fat and just deal with the meat. You know, it helps me be like, you know, who is on your side? You know, who do you need to talk to when you get out? Do you need to talk to the gangsters, or do you need to be, you know, talk to the Dwight Vicks? You know what I'm saying? This is the type of stuff that goes on in your head. It also gives you a chance just to realize that, you know, life is short, and God can take anything from you at any given moment, like any given moment, if you're not doing right. So don't walk around here like your shit don't stink. Don't walk around here like you could just do anything you want to hurt people, womanize, manipulate, you know, rob, steal, shoot, whatever, you know, that people do. And so I needed it. I wouldn't be here today. I'm for real, I'm just glad I only got 5 years. You know, for what I got caught with, it only carried a mandatory minimum of 60 months. I couldn't get any lower or any higher. That's what I got.
No doubt.
I'm just happy. I've done a lot more crime than 5 years worth in my lifetime. You know, just to get that, it was like you know, it was tough getting back, but we here now. It was all worth it.
And there's a chapter in the book, and you also highlight the money and then the cocaine, and you do a great job of highlighting the details about how it went down and what you were holding and how you were dealing with your addictions and living a double life. There's a chapter called Shitty Choices. Is that what that highlights? You know what I'm saying, that lifestyle?
On Shitty Choices is a chapter where actually I was in the bed with 2 white girls, and then I missed the 6 a.m. workout with Coach Gentry, and Lambo that was the beginning of like my destruction in terms of like just being reckless. In the book itself, I talk about, you know, I give you a glimpse of the monetary gains and stuff like that, but I don't glorify it at
No,
all.
no, not at all. Not at all.
Yeah, like
Not at all.
you don't even know. People don't even know if I even have a car until one scene. You know, people don't know. Yeah, I'm giving you the dollar amounts of what's going on to show you the magnitude of what I was doing, but there's no. I don't go on any shopping trips. There's no club scenes. There's no bottles. There's no me. You know, there's none of that. You know, it's all. It shows you the other side of that life. Me crying, me on the floor, doing drugs, me want to kill myself, me taking a gun, put it to my head, me, you know, doing blow, talking to my mom, crying, me dealing with my daughter's mother at the time, me seeing my daughter for the first time behind glass while I was locked up, me not being there, you know, for the most part for my daughter's. I was there for my daughter's birth in real life. I got locked up. She was like 4 months, but in the book, I wasn't there. So it's showing you all the negative stuff. I didn't want anybody to read this and be like, "Yo, he was doing it."
No
yeah, I think about you know, how many kilos and stuff like that to tell you the magnitude of coming from Woodberry to Virginia Tech to pushing this amount of drugs. But there is no there's not one scene of me shopping. There's not one scene. This is all the other side. What goes on in your head? You know, you know, I didn't want anybody reading this and being like, I want to do that. When you read this, you start crying and go, why did he do that? You know, so that's what. But Shitty Choices is about that scene. Which other scene you want to talk about? I think
that was it. No, well, no, there is one more because you mentioned the two white girls, and this is something that I have to teach people on an ongoing basis because there's a term people in that era, no matter if you hung around the athletes or not, and even the coaches knew about Stein, Spring, Grimes, Beamer. Yeah. There's a term we use called juices. Juices. Without spoiling, you know, the chapters and you talk about, let listeners know and the people watching this video, I should say, what is a juice? Without being offensive, because we don't want to get canceled.
Okay, no, and juice is a term of endearment. Like juice is not negative at all. You know, at least not was when we were saying it. Like not at all. So you're talking about the scene with me and Andre outside of smoking juice. So you're talking about the scene with me and Andre Kendrick outside of Squires, and we're smoking and I introduced him to the term juice. So my cousin Crisco in Harlem, growing up, I was like 14, 15. He was the first guy in Harlem like with a white girl, like damn near. Like he probably wasn't the first, of course, you know, but the first one out of our clique, and I've never it was unheard of. Mm-hmm. And one day we were like getting high in my apartment, my dad's apartment. And I was like, "You're OJ Bum Juice." And they were like, "What? Why you call him an OJ Bum Juice?" I said, "Like OJ Simpson, but he can't be called OJ Simpson because that's OJ. So I just put the bum juice in between there, just like on a whim. It was just like epiphany. It was like, he's an OJ Bum Juice." And they were like, "What's that?" I go, "It's a black guy who messes with white girls." And everybody started laughing. They were like, oh man. So that's how I started in New York. And then when I came to Tech and I was in the car with Andre Kendrick, and we were talking about different players on the team, like, you know, Corny White and like, you know, Danny Wheels and the Cornell Browns and the Antonio Banks, and I could keep going on, the Ken Oxendines and the Sean Scales, and I could keep going on and on and on. We were just sitting there for like an hour. I said, all those dudes, I was messing with white girls at that time. And I was like, I said, Dre, all those dudes are OJ Bum Juices. And he stopped and he was like, what did you call him? I said, OJ Bum Juice. He go, well, what's that? And then I tell him, and he's laughing. He's like, and then so I'm breaking it down to him and go, so I said, yeah, so we call white girls juices because the OJ Bum Juice, like OJ Bum Juices mess with the juices. And he was dying laughing. He said, so the white girls are the juices. Yeah. And I said, yeah, they juices. That's not, I said, I don't think it's interracial relationship. That's just what we call them. Like you see a nice looking white girl with a fat butt, you go, God damn, want to squeeze that juice. You know, you can just talk to each other. Like, you don't say that to the girl. You say it to the guy, just like talk. Like, you go up to her and go, hey, juice. And you just, you know, that'd be something different. But, you know, I mean, you got to think, black fellas, we got so many names that white girls call us.
No
you know,
question.
So I mean,
no question.
You know what I'm saying? So, so we started calling white girls juices, and anybody who messed with white girls, we just cut the OJ bum juice, and then it was just like bum juice, and then it was just like juice. So if you're a black guy messing with a white girl, you're a juicer, and if you're a white girl, you're a Jew. So that the whole shit became like some scientific like shit, and then it's like it took like, let me tell you something. Right now, it is spread all over the world, that word Jew. Because you gotta think. Let me tell you why. Where you from?
From Hampton, Newport News, Tidewater, 757.
You from Tidewater. You know Juice, right?
Yep.
Where I came from New York City. I'm from New York.
Yep.
Where's Michael Hawks from?
Nottoway, Blackstone.
Nottoway. So you got all these guys on the team spreading out, saying Juice where they come from, right? So they taking it back to where they live, right?
Yep.
Now let's take it. Let's go even further. How many NFL players got drafted on our team or from Virginia Tech? So now you got guys going to NFL camps, going on NFL teams, saying Juice. With a bunch of guys from Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, Texas. So everybody's saying Juice in their own, you know, one guy might be with the Buffalo Bills, one guy might be with the Redskins, the Saints, so and so. So they get to these clubs and they're saying Juice. So that shit just spread like wildfire. I was in the club one day and I heard a guy say, swear to God, so I heard a guy say, this was like probably 4 years ago, God damn, that Juice is fat. I almost lost my shit. I almost lost my shit, boy. I said, what? I looked at him, and he was just talking about Juices with his friend. I had a table with bottles. They had a table with bottles. And I looked at him, and he looked at me. He was just like, I was looking at him. And I just wanted to, like a tear came down, like a Denzel Washington glory tear. I was like, yeah. So that's where Juice came from.
Oh my God, there's a part, I'm trying to get myself together. There's a part of your book, man, where Coach Foster's talking to you because you just came out the game. I believe we were playing Rutgers. I remember he's talking to you and you zoned out like your wife said you do. You said, you look in the stands and you see a Juice who's thick.
And I lost my shit. And you know what? Let me tell you something. I went to Virginia Tech. I've never seen white girls in my life, like basically. And I go there, and some of them white girls built like sisters, and I just lost my shit after a while.
No question.
You know, I'm sorry, sisters, but I just lost it. You know, I ain't gonna sit here and lie. I was like, what? Like, what are these these specimens? I never seen anything like that in my life. So he talking to me, I'm like this. You know, and that's a real thing. He called. Let me tell you something. Coach Foster called Whip Dog. Yeah, Whip Dog, which I supposed to outside blitz for me, and I didn't go. I went into the flat. Actually, I didn't even go hit the. I went to the flat when I saw the blitz. It was an incomplete pass. It wasn't like the book, and I came to the sideline. He was ripping me out, and I was not even. But yeah, that's some true shit. Yeah.
Yo, Manny, I do want to ask you this, man. You know, this actually came to me when I was prepping for this interview, and I was seeing all the stuff, all the great things you're doing, and then here you are, my teammate. I'm seeing you socially. You know, we go to parties. I'm meeting you up. I see you in the weight room. I'm a few years older than you, so I was already in my situation, but we were still fam. But as I've seen this book, read some of it, and talked to you about it, I got to ask you this question. Is there a difference? Was there like two personalities? Like you hear some people say, when I got on the court, I was such and such. At home with my kids, I'm this. Like Kobe Bryant, the Black Mamba mentality.
Yeah.
Was there a difference between Manzo and Manny?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like Manzo didn't take anything seriously. Like when I got on the football field, I should have been Manny. Or I should have been maybe even a third person, you know, like in terms of this. I'm gonna take it to the football field first, right? So I didn't take football seriously when I got to Virginia Tech at all. Like I was like not at all. Like if I did, a lot of stuff would change in my life. I came in there super athlete, just raw talent. I didn't take it seriously. I should have been Manny on that football field, but I was turning into Manzo. I was turning into doing like the wrong shit. You know, I was there. I was not using football for the right reasons. I was using football for like, you know, the prestige of getting girls and just, you know, free school, and I'm just here as opposed to like actually listening to my coaches, like watching film, like when like Ike Charlton and Anthony Midget and Phil Summers and Lorenzo watching film, you know, the Nick Sorensens of the world. I'm out at Arnold's juicing. You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't take it seriously. You know, so that translated into like the birth of like Manzo to this maniac. You know, and so it is two different people. The stuff that I did as a grown up or when I was in my criminality, I can't even discuss right now. Like, it's not me. Like, not how I was raised, not who I was supposed to be. I've done some things where it's not in the book, but I can't even talk about. Was like some days you have nightmares about. Some days you're like, I can't even believe that.
Trauma.
You know, I was that violent, or I did this, or I did that. You know,
Yeah,
but
trauma, right?
excuse me.
Trauma, right?
Trauma.
Yeah.
It's like going to war. It seems like, you know, like PTSD. But you know, so it's like I'm just happy right now that I found myself. With God's grace and His mercy, you know, I found myself because I didn't want to be Manzo. I'm Manzo. When I say Manzo, I mean Manzo is my pen name for the book. But Manzo is my father's name. He was known in the streets as Manzo. So when I say the difference between Manny and Manzo is that back then I was Manzo back then, but I was my dad. You know, I was my dad. Now the difference between Manny and Manzo is it seems like I'm two different people again, but for the right reasons. Like Manzo's the author and Manny's just a regular person. When I get zoned out with Manzo, I'm like another creation. I'm like I'm not even on this earth. You know, when I start writing or I'm zoned out of being the author and then with literature, I'm something totally different. When I'm Manny, I'm the weightlifter. I'm your friend. But when I'm this guy, no one knows who this guy is. You know, the current Manzo. Mm-hmm. So that's my answer.
So Manny, when you talk about the life lessons you had, I remember when shortly after you came out, one of my proud moments of being your brother was when you and I participated in Mike Vick's camp down in Newport News. Were you in the Taiwo there where you have a daughter from, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I remember your post afterwards. You posted about being so grateful for me and Mike letting you be a part of it because you spoke to the kids. I actually still have a recorder. I may post it because it was very insightful. You spoke to the kids about health and nutrition, but I could tell even listening to you speak that day. And here, you know, we got Roddy White, Deshaun Jackson, we got NFL players there, Sean McCoy, but you stole the show in that moment because you were talking to kids about a lifestyle and a mentality that you live with your fitness, your body. Now you have the book and you have your legacy that's moving forward. You talk about the life lessons. What is your goal now moving forward to inspire? There's some future projects coming up. Are you that you can share or cannot share? Are there things that people should be on the look for? Because I remember when that moment when you spoke to those young men, they were, you know, these are high school kids. They were all ears. They were listening. They were paying attention. Since then, you've used your format and your platform to inspire others and to bring awareness, not just to social justice, but to healthy lifestyle living, better decision-making, mental and spiritual worth and spirituality. What's next for Manny? What we have going on now?
Right now, as we speak, I'm writing my next book. It's called It's Good Boy, Better Drugs Part 2, but it's called Better Toys. just better toys. It's actually like semi-erotica because when I came out of prison, I can't say a name, but I was dating and then got engaged to somebody very high in New York society, like, you know, celebrity status. And my life was a little crazy, you know, the stuff. I was an animal, but not like sexually. The second book deals more of my sexual addiction. It doesn't. The first one is like my criminality and drug addiction. The second book is all based off real events as my sexual addiction. So the second book goes from 2008 to like 2012. The first book was like from like 1986 to like 2000 and like 1986 to 2006. 600-page book, you know, fast reading 600-page book. But the next one is going to be like maybe it's going to be 21 chapters. So it's going to be maybe like 350, 400 pages. It's going to be a lot shorter, but it's going to deal with my sexual addiction. So there's like 8 sex scenes in there. So it's going to be similar. I see, damn, you shifting and sweating as I speak, yo. I ain't even tell you what was in there. You like this.
I'm just like, what?
No, it's serious, man. Like, you read the first book and you see like how I write about sex. It's basically a dope story, but with more of that, you know. And it's not because it's fabricated. It's just because, hey, you know, I had a lot of sex during that time.
Yeah. Now you are married, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, and I one thing I love about the fact that you talk glowingly about your wife. Y'all work out together. You train her. She's
Love you, Bam.
Yeah, she knows you, and she's still here. She hears these stories. She's the book. She knows about how you hit rock bottom and you came up, and she's still there. Like just talk about just real quickly about, you know, her being your ride or die, and like all the women you known and been around, and why her?
First of all, because she's just a beautiful soul. She's a Virgo also. Yeah. So she knows me. Like she knows me. Like she knows me like no other. Besides us just being drop dead gorgeous. I mean, she's an artist. She's special. She makes me a better person. This book wouldn't have been possible without her. She pushed me forward. I speak freely. You know, it's not like, you know how some guys be in a relationship, they're scared to talk about other women or no. Me and her, she you know, she lets me be me. I never met a woman who lets me be me. Everybody wants to suppress me or you know, limit to, you know, the things I can say or do or you know, I train a lot. I've made a lot of money training women to get their butts bigger. So it takes a special woman to be around somebody. And I'm talking about good-looking women. Like,
I've seen the pictures.
To pay me to make their butts bigger in the gym. So you have to be a special woman to deal with a nut like me, and she's special. She's special. So she pushes me to be a better person. I wouldn't be here talking to you without her. You know, I got the second book coming out. I'm working on Good Boy Better Drugs, the Netflix series. So I'm working on that right now. I want to do more talking for the kids. I want to do more like traveling around and talking. I'm writing a screenplay. I'm writing a screenplay for Good Boy Better Drugs. Still fighting social justice. I'm doing so much right now, and some other stuff I can't talk about. A couple inventions, a couple other stuff. I'm always working, man. Every day, I'm just, you know, this is what happens when you just get drive and living a good life and have positive people and have somebody like my wife beside me who actually keeps pushing me and pushing me and pushing me. Some days I cuss her out and be like, damn, but then I get stuff done and I'm like, well, because she could do everything, like everything. Like she's an artist, like she could change it. She could fix a car engine. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
She's Albanian. You know, Albanians, you know, they could do everything. Yeah, college graduate, like any, you know, ass fat. What else would I want? You know, you know, check. You know, and cook. She's
you winning.
I'm winning.
You winning. And speaking of that, man, this is the part, Manny. Man, this has been a blessing for me. I keep telling you how proud I am of you, man, because you, Dre, everybody, you guys were a few years behind me, but so many guys in our circle and even our associates are doing well, and you're blessed. This is the part of my show where we wrap up, where I let you share your final thoughts about your book, about your journey, and what advice you would give people who are struggling with addictions or struggling right now, trying to find their way, you know, on the come up, trying to get back on their feet, and what you want to tell them. And also ended it with how they can get a hold of your book.
Okay. First thing I want to say is that if you have a talent or you have something that you want to get done or that you always wanted to do it. Don't let nothing hold you back. You know, stop making excuses. Oh, I have kids, I have this, but you guys, you know, will watch TV and be on your phone for 14 hours a day. Turn your phone off. Turn your TV off. Sit down. Just jot some stuff down, what you want to do. If you want to do better in life, then do better. Stop making excuses. Yeah, we all been oppressed, you know, and we still are being oppressed. There's systematic racism. All that stuff is holding us back down, but to a certain point, you can't concentrate on that. I'm somebody who fight against that every single day, but I don't let that hold me down or be my excuse for me not to succeed. Nothing's going to stop me to succeed. Not a white man, not a black man, not a yellow man. No one's going to stop me. My TV's off. It's been off. I may turn it off for sports. My phone, I'm not on social media. I may post on Facebook on my breaks, but I have a system. If you want to do something, change your life and change the way that you live your life. You know, if you can't smoke weed, drink, and party, and you don't have nothing and be successful. I had to let all that stuff go. So if you want to be successful in life and get stuff done, write your own book. I mean, you think about it, just for example, if you want to write a book, if you wrote a page a day for a year, that's a book. You know, that's 365 pages. And you can do it. Some of you write a lot of books on Facebook. I see it. On Instagram, you guys could have been at a book. You're commenting, you're fighting back and forth every day. You could have wrote 85 volumes of books, but you choose to use your words and your thoughts for social media. So my advice to people is never let anybody stop you from doing what you're doing, and don't be your own worst enemy. And also, if you're somebody who's been incarcerated or have been in trouble before, don't use that as an excuse. Use that as a motivation. I used to sleep on my mom's air mattress. You know, I didn't have a dime in my pocket. If I had a mentality of just being down and out, I wouldn't be talking to you right now. You know, so the book, Good Boy, Better Drugs. 600 pages, but it reads fast. I don't have like big paragraphs and stuff like that. It's beautifully written. It's doing well. It's gaining momentum. This will be on TV or a movie one day. I work every day to put it out there. Also, this is Virginia Tech history. This is Virginia history. This is New York City history. All our friends are in here. You know, I wanted people to be immortalized through literature. You know, this is forever. So it's fun for my friends to read the book and be like, wow, like how you did today, Dwight. This is what I did it for. You know what I'm saying? I just, this is family to me. You know, this is like I feel so honored to have known my friends to put in here, and I want you guys to read it and be a part of it. You know, so go out and get it. It's on Amazon. It's doing well, and the next one is on the way. And I'm not going to stop. And I'd like to thank you, Dwight, for having me. Love you like a brother. You are my brother. You know, love your wife, Shanice, everybody, Virginia Tech family. Thank you guys for the support. And we need to support each other. Like,
no
we
question.
Really need to support each other a lot more as just a people, because, you know, it's crazy that, you know, as much as I love my friends have bought the book, there's no reason for everybody not to have this book. On Kindle, it's 99 cents, and I did that so my friends could have it. So, you know me, I'm gonna buy everything you have. This is it. You know, this is it.
Yeah, man. I love you, man, and I'm proud of you. And like you said, everybody should have this book, Good Boys, Better Drugs. Manny, thank you for jumping on today, man. This has been another powerful episode. I'm just proud of what you've done. I know Poons, aka Brian Edmonds, Keon Carpenter, and Big
Yes,
Rich
sir.
are smiling down
Yes,
from
sir.
above. I know they're proud of you.
Thank
I
you,
wish
man.
they could be in the physical to see it, but I know they're smiling.
They're proud of us.
Yeah, yeah, and I
On the
know
bus.
and I know the Boys Club crew is going to love this interview. And
Yes.
everybody, man, thank you for supporting Vicktory Life, Manzo. Good, good boy, better drugs. Shout out to Manny. Thank you so much for jumping on, man. Like I say every week, man, no matter where you go, no matter what you do, make sure you have a positive impact and you leave a great legacy. Thank you, Manny, for jumping on.
Thank you, Dwight. Love you, bro.
Yes, sir. Love you too. Thank you,
Go
man.
Hokies.